Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, I bring you good news. It looks as though we have now finally found the solution to the extrajudicial killings by the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, the S.A.R.S team of the Nigerian police. So it looks as though we found a final solution, a lasting solution to this, and this solution is coming from the police itself. So now this is what you have to do to avoid getting killed by the policeman in Nigeria, especially the S.A.R.S team. So this is the recommendation, this is the guidance from the police force, and this is from the police spokesperson itself. So stop speaking Queen's English to police officers to avoid problems. This is according to ACP Abayomi Shogunle. This is his advice to Nigerians. So now this is exactly from the top hierarchy of the police forces. So the solution now is to stop speaking Queen's English to the Nigerian police. Following the recent increase in extrajudicial killings by his colleagues, ACP Abayomi Shogunle has advised Nigerians to henceforth stop speaking Queen's English to police officers that accost them on duty. So this is what Abayomi wrote. For now, don't go and be speaking Queen's English with them on the road. For proper understanding, talk to them in pidgin, another way to avoid Kasala. So I'm not sure what Kasala is, but I'm assuming Kasala is the killing. So now this idiot, and I think this time I'm right to call this person an idiot, because this is the heights of idiocy. So now this is the sequence of events that led to this Abayomi fella making this comment. So I'll play you a clip now of a police officer, a police leading officer, advising the officers under him on how to conduct themselves in public and reminding them of what their duties are to the police forces. So you listen to this and you will agree with what this officer is saying, because this is the sort of guidance that we need somebody to give to the police forces in terms of what their duties and responsibilities are. So we will watch this clip.
And guess what I'm here for this morning? I'm here to discuss the issue of police killing that is going on in town. I'm sure nobody's happy about it here. I'm sure you feel ashamed to put on your uniform and move around town. I'm sure you feel bad about it. And don't forget that these arms we are carrying around was purchased for us with the money gotten from members of the community. You know, they are paying us to protect members of the public. So make we can't carry that same gun, they kill members of the public, where we're supposed to protect. They can never be happy with us. Very few of us will spoil the name of the police. For God's sake, why carry gun, cock gun, for where many people dey? Maybe we don't forget that thing wey they teach us for academy now, or wey they teach us for police college. And I don't forget, then talk say, it is better to allow armed robber to escape than to kill what? Thank you. It is better to allow even armed robber to escape than to kill one innocent person. And I don't forget.
So you saw in that clip exactly what we want from the police forces, and this guy is reiterating and reinforcing this to the officer, that this is what you learned in the police academy, in the training school, that it is better for an armed robber to escape than for you to kill an innocent person. So he's reminding them then of the sanctity and the sacredness of the human life. So which I think it's a thing in itself that a police officer should be reminded that it should not be going around killing innocent people. But that is where we find ourselves, and this is what this lead officer is finding himself having to do, to remind his colleagues and his team and his subordinates that, look, don't go around shooting people, because if you go around shooting people, there'll be repercussions. So that's effectively what he's saying, and that's good. And then to add on, this Abayomi now, who is meant to be a spokesperson in the police department. So this is his tweet. He says, nice one, and then he adds a thumbs up emoji. Lagos State will become if police chiefs in at Lagos do more of this, which is referring to that video clip. And then he then went on to add more. It says source, and then it references this. For now, don't go speaking Queen's English. So then went on to add that comment. So that nice one would have been a good enough thing to do, and then it would have cascaded this little clip to all of the office, all of the police chiefs in all of the states of the federating units of Nigeria to say, look, this is the template, play this to your officers and have these conversations with them to remind them of what their duties are and to remind them of what expectations are. And that was all he needed to do. But did he do just that? No, it's not enough for him to do the right thing. These people like this Abayomi fella, they will do something right and immediately spoil it with their idiocy because they are intrinsically stupid. So he then went on to add that now famous line, for now, don't go and be speaking Queen's English with them on the road. For proper understanding, talk to them in pidgin, another way to avoid Kasala. I have to find out what that Kasala means, but I think we all know what he means by that. So now this is now the goings on in Nigeria. This real idiot of a fella who is meant to be the police spokesperson has this to say: avoid speaking Queen's English to the police officer when you get accosted by him, to avoid getting yourself shot. So at least now we know the solution to having ourselves killed, just going about our legitimate business in our own country, not in a foreign country, in our own country, our forefathers' country, to avoid getting killed by the police officers who we are paying for in our own country. So don't speak Queen's English to them is a solution to that. So now let's see what people have to say. Obviously this should be interesting. Anonymous or the Nibobo Shogunle Yi Sha. So that one just went straight to it. Omolachi, I think all these names repeat, all these names that make all these comments, because I think we've come across a lot of these names before. Shogunle just made it official that the Nigerian police force is filled with illiterate lunatic idiots, and that includes him. And so say all of us. I don't think anybody can disagree with that, and I'm not sure why that guy has now not been sacked off the back of that comment, but they probably just promote him because that is Nigeria and that is how we operate down there. So now this is what Wazobia had to add. Our nation is gradually being dragged into a mere caricature, and it's incredibly still sounding like normal. So now this is exactly the key point really that we all think. The most ludicrous thing, the most unbelievable thing, the weirdest thing, the most inhumane thing, the most abnormal thing that you will consider abnormal in any other country, from China to India to the Middle East to Ghana to Togo even, the most ludicrous thing that you completely not be able to fathom in your mind is just normal in Nigeria. You know, it's just normal in Nigeria. The most bizarre thing is just normal and accepted in Nigeria. So now we have the spectacle of a police lead personnel, a police spokesperson, telling the Nigerian population that the way to avoid getting killed without having committed any crime, the way to avoid getting killed by the Nigerian police, not by armed robbers, not by hired killers, but the Nigerian police, the way to avoid getting killed by the Nigerian police is not to speak English properly to them. So now what chance do you have? They tell you to go and get an education because that is the way to build your life, and part of getting an education is being able to articulate yourself properly and express yourself properly. English, unfortunately, is the language of business and of conversation in Nigeria. So then that's the language that you have to master to be able to evolve your life within the Nigerian space, and that is the recommendation. You go to school, you get an education. Which language do you get that education in? It's not in Yoruba, it's not in Igbo, it's not in Hausa, but in English. So you get an education in English, and you learn the language to be able to express and make use of that education that you have gotten. So having then done exactly what they've told you to do to improve your life, to educate yourself, you now go onto the street. You are not then allowed to speak that education that you have to the governance, because if you speak that education that you have acquired to the governance, you will get shot. Effectively is what this brain dead idiot is saying. Really is beyond belief. But let's carry on. Let's see what other people have to say. Juliet Unwono, another name we've come across before. God help us all. That's just really the prayer. That's the common parlance in Nigeria. That's just the go-to. Just God help us all is the surrender that we all have now in Nigeria. Emmanuel, useless and stupid officers thunder fire on her. I think we all share in that sentiment. Anonymous, which kind talk be this? I am so upset. I think a lot of us are more than upset. We are angry now. Great nation. When APC/Kayamo tell Nigerians that we do not need WAEC, what do you expect? Well, there you go then. They've already told us that forget that education. Just toe the line, and when the officers come up to you, just hand over your 500 naira and hand it over in the dobale position, and that way you save your life. And make sure you are speaking pidgin English whilst you are handing over your 500 naira. I don't know what the bribing rate is now in Nigeria. This is what Aifi has to say. See waiting a top-ranked police personnel, they talk for public. Continue disgracing Nigeria to the world. I just think it's a crying shame. It's enough to make a grown man cry sometimes. Some of these things it's beyond depressing. It's something needs to give in that country. Really, it's too much. It is too much. The last time one came out and said, you remember that Kolade Johnson incident when people were complaining? The guy that was being arrested that led to this boy being killed, he was being accosted by the police because they said he had dreadlocks, and that must then mean that he was a cult member. And then the police, the top-ranking personnel that came in at that point said, dreadlocks are alien to our culture, tattoos are alien to our culture, so therefore if you have dreadlocks now, is an arrestable offense in Nigeria. And then you can't speak English, you can't have dreadlocks, you can't have tattoo. If you breathe too much fresh air in Nigeria, it's illegal and you'll get shot. There was one clip that I saw. Some guy had his mobile phone. The police officer looked at his mobile phone and he said the mobile phone that the boy had, he wasn't even accusing the boy of stealing the phone, no, and he wasn't accusing the boy of even being Yahoo. He was just saying that the mobile phone that the boy had was better than his own mobile phone, and then he decided to smash the phone on the floor, and no doubt then proceeded to beat the boy up. What was that boy's crime? That boy's crime was that he has a better phone than the police officer. So now look at that. Where are we heading in that country? It's just, you know, it's too much. And when we take our complaints to the people that are leading these officers on the street, what do we get? We are told that having dreadlocks is illegal. We are told that speaking the Queen's English is unacceptable, and we're told that having a better phone than the police officer is a criminal offense, and that is the state of Nigeria. This is not me making up stories. These are things that you've already seen. Thankfully, Nigerians have a lot of mobile phones now, so these things are now being captured and now being put out in the world for everybody to see that this is what is going on. And what is the necessary adjustment that the governance is making to make sure that the services are suited and fit for purpose? Well, the adjustment that they are making is to tell us not to speak the Queen's English, not to have a better phone than the police officer, and not to have dreadlocks. And that is really what they are telling us. You know, it boggles the mind. It's unbelievable. But then there we have it. So there you have it. Reports back from the police department in Nigeria. Do not speak the Queen's English to a police officer when you get accosted. And if you speak the Queen's English to a police officer when you get accosted, you will get shot and you will be killed. And do not come to the police services to come and make a complaint, because you have now been forewarned not to speak English properly to the police officer when he stops you on the street. So if he stops you on the street, just listen to him and then mimic the way that he speaks to you. That is the best way to save your life. So there you have it. You've been forewarned, and this forewarning is now publicly known. So now it's now left to you what you do. Anyway, conversations in the comment section, what the policeman said. But before you come have that conversation with me in the comment section, click on the red subscribe button so it goes gray. The bell button as well, you click on that so then you know whenever I drop a video so you can come watch it. So once you've done both, come have this conversation with me in the comment section, because this one really is beyond my intelligence. So maybe you guys can educate me on this one. So I'll leave you here and I'll meet you in the comment section where this conversation carries on. So leave you here, meet you there. But here I say Peace.